Welcome. I'm David Trimble, President of the Religious Freedom Institute. We're here today at the International Religious Freedom Summit in Washington, D.C. And I have the distinct honor and privilege of sitting down with my friend and colleague in defending religious freedom, Robert Rehak. Robert is a lifelong, career-long diplomat from the Czech Republic and serves as Special Envoy for Religious Freedom. Robert, welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Really good to have you today.
Thank you.
Robert, every time we've sat down together, I've been enamored with your background and in some ways feel like I'm reading my own bio in terms of our interest in theology and education and these things that seem to have driven us personally and also professionally. And I want to talk about that today within the space of religious freedom, really. So let's begin with your faith. Your faith seems very important to you as I've gotten to know you just a little bit, and your background even in the study of theology. Help me understand, frame for me if you would, the role of all of that in shaping your passion and defense of religious freedom.
Yeah. So we live in very difficult times. Like some people call this age of uncertainty. And I believe that religion is a very positive force that can actually bring peace among the nations, can bring also peace, like feeling of stability to the people who are in fears because of the social media, so-called social media. They are not so social actually, they are asocial. And I tried also to link FORB, freedom of religion and belief, with diplomatic activities. So I'm over 20 years diplomat. I'm right now ambassador at large. And I try to explain to our colleagues that religion is not something that they should avoid, but in opposite, they should try to see it as a means for dialogue between different parts. And if it's done properly, it can avoid a lot of conflicts.
Well, I appreciate that insight. You know, in the United States at least, when I was growing up, we always heard the saying, well, you don't talk about religion or politics at the dinner table, as if those are really negative forces in society. And yet, perhaps when done properly, both can be forces for good. Yeah. At the Religious Freedom Institute, we have a saying, religious freedom is important because religion is important. If you would, maybe expound on that a little bit. You talked about religion being a force for good, a positive force in society. Help me understand a little bit more why you believe that to be true.
So first of all, in today, many people are looking for their identity. So religion becomes part of their identity. So this is something that in this world full of confusion, you can see religion as something that builds your identity, your self-conscience, how you see yourself, okay? But the picture should be open. That means not religion in a negative thing, something that would tear us apart, but something that can connect us. That means even I have different traditions. It's great for me to realize your traditions, and we can enrich each other by own views, explanations, and traditions. And the world is much more colorful. Look, the authoritarian regimes. I grew up behind the Iron Curtain. I still remember how the police came to investigate me as a boy in the high school. I came to the high school, there were 2 police cars, and they started proper investigation only because I was interested in religion. And out of this experience with the authoritarian regime, I became stronger because I succeeded to build resilience, somehow deep in communist times, and today I can still use that experience for the times that are coming right now. And believe me, the security situation in the world, because of the Russian aggression against Ukraine, the growing power of authoritarian regimes like China and others are big threats, combined with the AI and the digital world that we don't know where it goes. Yeah? There is nobody who can actually see how far it will go, but I know that all those regimes can misuse those tools,
Yes.
like the AI and so on, against the religious minorities.
Right.
So I think it's very important, as I did in my time when I grew up as a boy behind the Iron Curtain. We have to build up like very solid, resilient state of mind, which will help to overcome everything. And I believe that we will do it. We will succeed. And we need alliances. That's why I'm very thankful for your support that you give to my work.
Yes.
Because without it, I could not do even a tenth of work I do. And the people, if they are on the same wave and they start to cooperate, they can make the changes. There was a guy I told you before, his name was Pastor Lorenzo. He was sitting in the prison. I lost the hope that he will be ever released. Even after my campaign, he was put into even worse prison, but now he's out. And it was not just my thing. Many people, even I don't know them, they tried to help. It came together and the person was released. And very important is also in the business that we do, not to claim victory. It's not important. The result is important. There are many people who start to put to all the social media, we are behind this great success. But I think should stay humble, a little bit behind the scene is the proper way. And know that thanks to your support, I could, for example, highlight this case and the family is united. Like the two children, a mother, and are right now in the same house. And the progress was another 7 years in the prison.
Yeah. Well, it's an amazing outcome.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing what building these alliances can do, where we work together as a community, really to advance religious freedom. At RFI, we're convinced that a key element of doing that is education, and that we overcome the negative perceptions about religion and the individualism of religion if we educate the community, the society about the value of religion and religious freedom. And we begin to understand how it benefits everyone, everywhere. Let's talk about that just for a moment. In your work, how valuable is education in terms of building an understanding of religious freedom, the basic principles, and then advancing it into society?
I always try to be strategic, so I don't want to do things just right now, one time. If I do something, I need to see sustainability long term, because I believe that you can change the things only in the long term. Sometimes you have to do something right now, very quickly, very efficient, like meeting with a government representatives, or I have to write letters suddenly very quickly to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of some country to release the people. But behind scenes, you have to think strategically long term, because most of the conflicts in the world started over decades. So you can't expect that the solution will come in days or months.
Sure.
So if the conflict is here for decades, you have to think about the solution in decades. And for this you need education.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sorry to say it, but some of the conflicts, tensions, and even like the situation of the minorities, it will take generations, maybe 1-2 generations, before it will be better. And that's why you need education, because this is exactly the track which is behind our lifetime. and will happen in a lifetime of our children or even grandchildren. But we have to start it. We have to do it. And the education to the religious freedom is the path to better society, but also safer society. If the people feel welcome in the environment, in the society they live, they contribute positively to the society, and there is also less conflict and more profit for everybody.
Well, thank you for that insight, and I think you're exactly right. I mean, I think education is the pathway to safety, it's the pathway to peace building, social cohesion, and really embedding and advancing the value and the virtue that religion brings to society. And it is a long-term investment, to be sure. We like to see quick, overnight success, but we want to invest long-term, just like we do in our children and our families and the next generation, and religious freedom is like that. Well, let's close with one final question. So you really do hold a very important position globally in advancing religious freedom as the special envoy for religious freedom and belief. Let me ask you this, as you look forward, a movement like this, the International Religious Freedom Summit, and other movements attached to it, as we look forward, what would you suggest is the most important thing we can do together to advance religious freedom, to overcome persecution of minority faiths around the world, and to secure a more peaceful coexistence for humanity based on human dignity?
For me, the key word is cooperation. There are many organizations, groups that are actually fighting for the same, but they are distracted, like they are not working together. I think the key is a really efficient cooperation in very different style that we know it today. We have to change it. The world is changing very quickly. The authoritarian regimes are very brutal in their way, and I think without to change whole setup, mindset as we think, we can't succeed. And we can succeed if we will cooperate very closely on a very different basis, if we will be able to have a communication on very different level. So, and we join power, join efforts, and then we can succeed. And also, for me, as I said here, is always we have to think about the generations that should to come, that are not born yet. And in that respect, in this long term, we have to include young people to our activities.
Absolutely.
Give them trust, give them mentoring, give them like our support, sincere support,
Right.
and then they can take our work further, and maybe from us they can learn something that they will pass to the next generations. So I will tell you just a very funny story. I came from the academic world, so I was at the university, and I had fantastic teacher. His name was Jan Heller. He was like very wise rabbi, and when I spoke with him, nothing else exists. We were just in the dialogue, okay? And when we went together somewhere, he almost pushed me forward, and he said, "Robert, I'm not important, I'm the past, but you are the future, and you have to meet this person." Then I came to diplomacy and like, okay, now ambassador is here, like somebody else, and you should be back. So this approach from this old professor we have to adapt to, and think about the others, like to promote them, give them chance, help them like succeed. And this is the good way.
Help them, teach them, and learn from them.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Robert,
Yes.
thank you for leading with your faith,
Thank you.
which is obvious, and I know that you do, and your training as well as an educator and academic. Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for your alliance with the Religious Freedom Institute, the International Religious Freedom Summit. We look forward in the months and the years ahead to continue this partnership and to advance religious freedom together.
Thank you very much for your support and your personal approach also.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.